All right, so what happens next now that the results are in? So CNA's Asia First anchors from TV and radio, Bakhtiar and Yasmin Jonkers, have been in Hong Kong since late last week, and they've been reporting on the situation as part of CNA's commitment to fully cover the crisis in the territory.
Yes, and Adam and Yasmin join us right now for more on this. Guys, you spent the day getting a sense of reaction on the ground there. What have you discovered?
Well, by all accounts, Steve and Glenn, to be really honest, I mean, it's our correspondents that have really had more of a sense of what's been happening live on the ground here at the various polling stations throughout the day. And it is, by all accounts, relatively peaceful. And we've been here for 4 days already in Hong Kong, and there hasn't been a whole lot of disruption compared to, let's say, in the previous weeks, in the lead-up, at least, to the district council election, right, Yasmin?
You're absolutely right, Adam. Prior to the polls, there were those worries whether a violent protest could erupt, possibly even forcing a postponement to the election. As we know, security was heightened with almost all of the 31,000-strong Hong Kong police force deployed across the city to maintain order. But thankfully, incidents were minimal throughout, and the initial fears did not come to pass. The only thing we have to contend with at this point in time are these gale force winds.
The gusts of this balcony.
And we're trying to stand still while talking to you guys.
Well, it became clear by early this morning, though, that the Pan-Democrats had, of course, secured the majority of the district council seats. Basically, they cleaned up in this election, right? And we spoke to some analysts on their thoughts of the Pan-Democrats' landslide victory. Dr Hui Ching from the Hong Kong Ming Institute tells us what developments we could see as the Pan-Democrat camp swept 17 out of Hong Kong's 18 districts.
One of the difficulties is they don't have sufficient resources in hand, okay, no matter in terms of money, okay, or in terms of manpower or something like that. But actually, if more than 80% or nearly 90% of the council members, okay, actually they come from the same camp, okay, pro-democracy camp, they have, well, first of all, sufficient and rather stable income, okay, to groom their own younger generation of politicians.
Dr. Hui also predicts there could be an impact on next year's Legislative Council election stemming from this overwhelming victory.
For longer term, I think it would be going back to something like 55, 60, something like that. But in long terms, I guess the turnout rate would keep on a rather, relatively high level. And of course, that would bring significant impact on the Legislative Council next year, within 1 year, around 9 to 10 months. And the result would be, just like this time, would a little bit favor to the pro-democracy camp.
Yeah. Well, given the months of turmoil in Hong Kong, could this be a chance at resolving the conflict?
I think they're getting themselves ready to help to de-escalate the situation, to put Hong Kong back on track, if you like. But again, we're at a crossroads. Whether or not the Carrie Lam government and Beijing authorities will be able to take advantage of this as an opportunity to bring Hong Kong out of the very deep governance crisis or not, we have to see what the first and instant response coming from Carrie Lam is going to look like. If the government is still not responding properly to this clear, strong will of the people, then of course the district councillors will be able now, clearly, to control a number of seats in the Legislative Council next year, scheduled for September 2020, and by extension, 117 ballot papers in the Chief Executive 1,200-strong election committee. So in other words, we're in a long haul. In the coming years, there will be lots of political contestation here in Hong Kong.
Well, it may be too early to tell exactly what will truly be the outcome of this election, which saw many pro-government political heavyweights really suffer a crushing defeat.
Could very well be, Adam. Now, Mrs. Carrie Lam has since conceded there are views that sees this election result as a reflection of Hong Kong people's dissatisfaction with the current situation. She says the government will seriously reflect and humbly listen to public opinion. Perhaps this could be another step forward for reconciliation.
Adam and Yasmin, you guys are going to be there for the entire week as part of our extensive coverage. What can we expect for Asia First tomorrow?
You want to take this one, Adam?
No rest for the weary, I can tell you that, Glenda and Steve. Well, we're going to be taking a closer look at who's been affected by the unrest that has swept through the city for the better part of 6 months, right?
Yeah, we're going to be speaking with policymakers, businessmen, analysts, and of course our correspondents who are so hardworking on the ground, working as we speak.
That's
and of
right.
course we look at the state of play in this financial hub.
We're looking at also who we'll be hearing from throughout the morning of coverage. And we've got a lot of guests coming up. And in fact, one person I spoke to, a lawmaker here, Hong Kong's Commerce and Economic Development Secretary Edward Yao. He had a lot, of course, to say about the situation unfolding here. You want to listen to him for sure.
And tomorrow we touch on tourism, don't we? So
That's right.
Dane Cheng, the executive director of the Hong Kong Tourism Board, will be coming on board, asking numbers for sure.
Definitely.
And we'll find out how Hong Kong intends to actually repair itself as a big tourism hub. The streets are a lot more quiet, I have to say, than what we're used to. Plus, of course, Ronald Wu is the chairman of the Hong Kong Association of Travel Agents. Very strong tourism theme tomorrow morning.
And the travel agents just recently got, of course, a stimulus package worth 100 million Hong Kong dollars. We'll talk about that in a lot more detail, see whether it's really going to be lasting effect. Now, lots of excitement as well for the markets, right? We're going to be tracking the Big Bang Alibaba listing right here in Hong Kong. Remember, they listed 5 years ago in New York. And so we're going to be speaking to Jackson Wong, Director of Asset Management at Amber Hill Capital. So join us again tomorrow morning for our special coverage from right here at the heart of all the action in Hong Kong on Asia First simulcast on CNA TV and CNA 938 radio from 7 to 10 a.m. and possibly even longer if Carrie Lam, who's, of course, due to give her regular, press con to the media, happens, and we might have extended programming. You never know. Bit of a bonus for you folks out there. Given the results, of course, of the latest district council election, the press con, I'm sure, will be fairly important. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thanks.